Hello everyone, my name is Eleftheria and I am the community manager at Crab Nebula, and today I have the pleasure with me to have Simon. Simon, would you like to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background?
Hello, everyone. I'm Simon. I'm a software engineer from Sweden. I'm self-taught and I work at Signy, part of Accenture. I live in Linköping. I like books, but I don't read them. And yeah, that's a bit about me.
Can you also please share a little bit on how you started interested in Tauri? How did you start participating more with the community and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. So at the previous job I had, called Adaptive, um, I was the only programmer at the company. It was a small startup here in Linköping. And we had the need for an admin system for that. But the people I worked with didn't want a web app based solution. They wanted something installable. But as the only developer in charge of like 5 different projects that we had, I had to insist on limiting the tech stack. So I looked around for options. I knew Cordova, but I didn't fancy going back to that. I had prior experience with it. I was really interested in Rust at the time. Looked around, found Tauri, and noticed that yeah, we can limit our tech stacks considerably by using Tauri. Got in on the Discord to get some help because this was during the beta, so this wasn't even not the 2.0 beta. This was
Yeah.
before version 1. So needed some help. Found Fabian in the Discord and got a lot of really good help from him. So thanks to Fabian's hard work, we got version 1 released of our admin system. And inspired by Fabian, I decided to stick around in the Discord and keep doing support, just like he had. Fast forward about a year, I decided I can't just keep doing support. I need to start actually contributing with code. But I didn't want to write Rust code yet. So I found out that, oh, we have a Tauri bot in the Discord channel. I can start doing JavaScript for that. So that's how I got started and was invited by Lorenzo to actually join the working group. So that was exciting.
Yeah, sounds excited, and I didn't know that story. I see you all the time on Discord. How do you manage your time? How do you find time for your full-time job and Discord as well?
Well, I have Discord up in the background. I work at Signy, part of Accenture, so I'm an IT consultant. I work with different companies, and it's all remote. And
Mhm.
as a result, there's not a manager looking over my shoulder to see, is he on Discord right now? So I just have Discord open like 24/7 pretty much on my computer in some tab somewhere. And whenever I get a ping, I hop on over to answer it. That's pretty much it. I don't really manage the time beyond that. I just do it because it's fun. I don't play a lot of games. I do programming and support in Tauri as my pastime activities. So when I'm not working, I hop
Wow.
on Discord, do some stuff there, hop on this GitHub as well, and maybe do a commit. And yeah.
What would you say is the most difficult part when you're doing this?
Well, the most difficult part is just the communication aspect with all the other people involved, getting to a consensus on how things should come together. For those that don't know, I'm primarily working on the documentation side of Tauri and the community side of Tauri. I'm potentially going to be one of the community domain leads. We've talked about it before, but we haven't made it official yet, but that's a possibility. And communication is pretty much most of what I deal with. That's the big chunk of my time. Getting to a consensus with everyone on how should the website look, what features are good, how should we like present this new feature to people so that it's easy to ingest for people. We've had some people come with issues in support where the solution to their question has been in like the, if not the paragraph after, then the sentence after what they were reading. So communicating with people is what takes most of my time. Actually writing stuff is actually pretty quick once you've decided.
Yeah, I can imagine that. As a community manager and in my previous job as well, I had to communicate with a lot of people, and I found that usually the hardest thing is the communication, because you may find the solution, you may find how and why you should direct the people in this direction or the other thing, but usually the communication is the hard part.
Yeah.
So I get that. Could you also please share a little bit more details on how you and the working group are making decisions on what stuff to do?
Well, we don't really have that organized a way of handling that beyond the in the working group. We have a special working group forum that's not public to the rest of the world, where we might have some discussions regarding some of the bigger decisions uh, before we announce them to the community. There's some decisions that have been like, oh, should we have a bounty system for getting people engaged with contributions and stuff like that. We might want to discuss some stuff before we get them out there. Otherwise, we've started to do polls quite recently. That's something that I pushed for. And those polls and talking to the community is the primary way we handle deciding what to implement. We don't really, as a working group, take that overlord perspective and like say, this is what we're implementing, or this is open source, anyone can contribute, and we try to keep everything as open as possible.
Yeah. And now let's go to a question that many people wanted an answer, and it's how they can contribute, even as a first-time contributors, or like maybe they have contributed in other open source framework. So do you have any advice for them? And more specifically, I see that a lot of people say that it's hard, and I don't know how to start. So do you have any advice or tips for these people?
My first tip would be try heading into the support channel on Discord, maybe the issues side of GitHub as well, although that does tend to get too technical. But a lot of people learn about a framework by going to stuff like Leet Code and doing weird challenges. Actually, if you head over to support, those are basically programming questions that can help you learn specifically Tauri and helps you get forward really fast. It can help you understand where there are problems with the documentation, so you can grow from support over to documentation. And once you have a solid understanding of support and documentation, it's quite easy to get into develop the actual code, because you have spent so much time then on the actual theoretical groundwork. So that would be my tip. Hop on over to support to learn more about the framework. Go to the documentation to cement that knowledge, then make commits.
Yeah, and I would also add to this that even small things count, even small contributions count.
Yeah, and even the contributions, people keep thinking about contributions as code to GitHub, but contributions to Tauri. Tauri is a community and an ecosystem. You can do so much more than just commits of code. You can engage with a community, or if you know one programming language but you don't know Rust, like I started with a Discord bot myself, and I'm currently doing the documentation site primarily. So I have a couple lines of Rust in Tauri, but I do not primarily contribute with Rust code. So if you don't know Rust, there are plenty of other ways to contribute.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. For example, me, I don't know a lot of Rust, but I'm learning these days. And even when I'm on Tauri's Discord, it helps. It's mostly about Tauri, but even with my little knowledge on Rust, I think that I find value in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will change gears a little bit, and then we will go back to communities questions. why do you think people like Tauri as a framework, but also as a community? And what does it make different from other similar frameworks or libraries?
I think what people like the most is the support they get in the Discord server. Probably, that's at least what drew me in, and I think that's been something that a lot of people have come and told me that they're surprised by my engagement, by Fabian's engagement. Lorenzo, well, isn't as much with us now, but he was a huge part of establishing the community as well. So just this positive and professional approach to just managing the community. That's what I think really makes us stand out from the rest. Because functionality wise, like as I said before, I was looking at Cordova for the previous job before I looked at Tauri, because functionality wise, there's not much of a difference really.
Yeah.
But all these other things like community and our security and whatnot, like those kinds of things. I think are.
Yeah. And if I could like add a general advice for people that are in this space and that they are creating products and services, my advice would be to actually focus on the community, on building the community, on having good relationships, because the code may be similar, or the productivity and the things you get from a product may be similar with other products that they're already out there, but the community is something very, very unique.
Yeah, both from a point of view of getting more support for your product, but also it's a sign of healthy maintainers of the
Mm,
product. If the community is toxic, then probably the working group behind it is also toxic.
exactly. And one more question. Do you have any milestones or any features that you are waiting to see from Tauri?
I'm hoping for version 3 to include alternative renderers. I've started doing a little bit of work on getting Chromium in. I'm jokingly calling it Cry right now instead of Rye. But yeah, that's what I would see for version 3. And of course, version 2 getting released soon is also high up there.
Yeah, of course. All right, now we will go to our communities question. And for the folks that are watching us right now, we asked on our social media, and we also had a nice poll on Discord if you had any questions for our lovely Tauri maintainers. And we got some questions, so I will go to Discord. And we have the votes. One of the most voted question was how you started, but we already talked about that, so I will skip that. The other question is, if you got to decide, what would Tauri do differently? And I think that's an interesting question.
What would Tauri do differently? Oh, that's a good question. The biggest thing that I've encountered having a little bit of issues with is our version management approach. But that's mostly because I'm a bit of a rebel in this space with version management, where I think we should follow somewhere very closely with just when there's a breaking change, you make a major version bump. People don't like that because then they have to update their code. And so we're holding this back with like 6 or even 12 months between major versions. And I think it would be better to have quicker iterations. So if I was in charge of Tauri, we would be on like version 27 right now. But that's just me.
Yeah, I see
Literally
what
pretty much
you
just
mean.
me. I've talked to the others about it, and they are not fans of it. So we're not going to do that.
Well, thank you for sharing that, anyways. And the other question that got a lot of votes is, why do you do it, and what do you get out of it?
Well, I do it because I enjoy it. My boss had the input the other day at a like a peer review that it seems like I have this biological drive right now to share my knowledge. So we'll see if my girlfriend and I get a child in the coming 2 or 3 years or something. But yeah, I just have an urge to share my knowledge, and the being on Discord really helps just to share that knowledge in support or on documentation. So
Yeah,
it's
but I
also
think
new
that
for me.
this is amazing and more people should do that. And again, if I may add something, I see a lot of people that they are waiting to be more experienced to share stuff, but
Mm.
I don't always agree that. I feel that even as a beginner, you always have something to share and your point of view may be different from someone else's point of view. So it's always a good idea to share even if you don't have crazy experience.
Yeah, and if you're wrong as a beginner, the more experienced people will let you know. So it's good that you expose your weaknesses so
Yes,
they can be
exactly.
fixed instead.
Exactly. Okay, I think that these were the top questions that we had. Would you like to share with us any goals for the future or anything else you have again for our community? It doesn't have to be Tauri specific. Maybe you just something you want to share with us.
Well, I'm hoping to get engaged with my girlfriend this year, hopefully. Fingers.
Congratulations.
That's about it. I have a side project within AI research so I'm starting to slowly go towards AI instead of systems development. So that's
What stack do
exciting.
you use for that?
Oh, I use Python, TensorFlow. I've started doing Kubeflow. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff to set up. I'm also terrible at finishing my projects. So it started with Simon, you're gonna start a notebook and you're gonna do TensorFlow. I have now for a couple weeks implemented ML ops with a custom Vagrant Packer setup with custom images and virtual machine. I'm never gonna finish this project, but I'm doing it.
No, I think you will. You just have to be a little bit more focused, maybe,
Yeah.
but you will do it. Mm, all right. Thank you very much for our lovely interview. It was nice seeing you here, and I see you all the time on Discord. So it was really amazing for me to actually have this chat with you. And I hope that our audience will find this interview helpful and maybe contribute more to Tauri or other open source frameworks.
Yeah, it was lovely to be here and get interviewed. Thanks
Thank you
again.
very much. And for everyone that is watching us, have a lovely day. See you.